Everybody, Coach here. Hey, thanks for joining me this week. Glad to have you along for the next few minutes. This particular episode, we are covering 5 top reasons in my professional experience that people never start or ever do a landscape project makeover. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and I would have been out of a job a long time ago. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Let's get started, shall we? Hey, I'm Matt and you can call me Coach. This channel is all about DIY landscape education, design concepts and theories in an easy to understand way so you can get the results you want, save a lot of money, and be more self-reliant. Man, I've been in the business for 20 years and I bring with me a lot of experience that I want to share with you guys. The new modern, self-reliant, educated homeowner of today. Okay, like I said, if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? Landscaping is a challenge. It is in the biggest 5 home improvements that a homeowner can tackle. So based on some of the comments and some of the social media platforms that I follow and comment on quite regularly, and reasons that I have heard from countless numbers of people, both at garden shows over the years, one-on-one consultations at their house, these are the 5 that I seriously remember being the reasons people do not start a landscape makeover project. Number 1, can you guess it? I mean, can you guess it? Just ignore all these dollar signs going off around me here, okay? Yep, it's money. Money in a budget. Money because it hasn't been acquired yet, or you don't know how to acquire it, and budget because you don't know really what the hell you want to do. So when you talk about money, every single day and every single month and season that drags on, a landscaping project incrementally gets more and more expensive. And why is that? Is because the freaking materials go up. You know, I mean, look at what COVID did to lumber. Look at what COVID did to landscape materials alone when you have bark that used to be $40 a cubic yard and it went to $60. Why? I guess because production just dropped off. So how does the average DIYer who cannot afford to go out and hire a professional to come in and design it and rip it out and put a new one in, how are they supposed to go about doing the money thing? Well, what I have kind of instructed over the years is kind of a 2 or 3 prong approach, and here you go. What I used to hear so often was a very perplexed, confused, and even sometimes upset potential customer when I handed them an estimate for a design, or I hand them an estimate for a design and a landscape makeover, and they would go, "Why is this so expensive?" And I usually took the time, rather than just saying, "Hey, it's going to cost you 10 grand." I would have a breakdown sheet of all the materials and all the labor costs shown to them. And I would say, well, look at it. Rather than just look at the bottom line, look at what the costs are. And there was very little markup in anything that I ever did. I mean, I covered the cost of having to attain the materials and bring it to the site. That is my time or my employees' time. So that was built into it. But beyond that, not a lot. But people who are not in the biz, just like people who wonder why a car is so expensive, why a house is so expensive, why a surgical procedure is so expensive. It's because it's not your wheelhouse and not your area of expertise. So you don't know what you don't know. Well, when you do learn it and you kind of come up with a plan saying, okay, we need to save $6 grand in order to redo this small residential backyard of ours, over. And that's not ripping out concrete. That's not putting up patio structures. It's not putting electrical in for a brand new hot tub. We're talking basic green landscape makeover. So, do you have it or do you not? If you do not, you need to pick a date down the calendar. Here it is in August. Pick a date, say next April, and you're gonna chunk away whatever you can in addition to what you have, and then in April, you will realize that savings, you'll realize all the money that you've acquired, and you move forward with it. You don't sit around going, oh man, I can't believe we saved $6,000. Well, why don't we just forego the landscape and let's go get a jet ski. Let's go get some electric bikes. Let's go get something else, and you squander it. You know, it's a discipline thing. It really is. If you need it, then save for it, be disciplined, set yourself a budget, know what you want to do and how that budget is either reality or fantasy. If you start talking about new patios, new walkways, patio cover, nice fan, a misting system, a brand new hot tub, maybe an outdoor water feature, new lawn, couple of new trees, shrubs, lighting, and you do $6,000, it's pie in the sky thinking. It really is. And if you don't believe me, go out and do some due diligence. Do some due diligence and find out what reality is. So the number one cause of people never starting is money management and money acquisition. Now you can go off into some of the other things that I've done, like in the planning a landscape project, how to use your house, how to use other avenues of financing to do it if you want to finance it. But I'm not going to go into that. You check out this video right here, okay? And if you want to know even more detail, check out the book, Landscaping Simplified, on the website. And if you really want to learn, you know, we have a drastic reduction on the home course, the digital home course, Homescape 1.0. All right, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is time and patience. You know, at the ripe old age of 62, yeah, I've developed some patience. Don't ask Maestro that. But at times I do have a lot of patience, and I realize through life experience and time on this planet, kind of what it takes to acquire certain things, and realistically what I can afford and what I cannot afford. But time away from daily life is drastically required to do a DIY landscape project. You know, between a full-time job, or maybe in your case 2 full-time jobs with you and the missus, you've got soccer practice, you've got gym time, you've got anything where life just takes you away in a different direction. How are you going to pare that down and focus and concentrate every weekend, or taking a few extra days off and doing a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you just bang that demolition out and you get it done in 1 week? And then you sit back, go back to life for a week or so, and then come back to it and plan your next chapter of attack on a new project. It's the only way you're going to get it done. And I see so many people want it done, but they won't focus their time on it enough. Plain and simple. So when you think about it, you need time to design it, time to plan it out, like I've taught in so many videos, time to plan it out, time to acquire materials, time to demo it, like I just said, time to schedule in pros if you want to do that blended approach, like I've spoke about in this video here, you know, and then finally time to construct it. If you add all this up, for the average DIYer, you're talking an average of 2 months minimum. 2 months minimum, unless you can bring in a horde of family and friends and just yard crash it, which I did probably about 4 or 5 of those in my career. They're kind of fun, as long as you know how to manage people and manage their efforts. Anyway, you know, if you have a lot of hands making a lot lighter work, that demo may be a day and a half instead of 4 days if you're taking it on just you and the missus. Or if you had 12 people show up on a Saturday morning and the dumpster's in the front yard, you rip that whole damn yard out with the proper equipment, you'd have it done by 5 o'clock, and it's beers and burgers after that. So time and time management is one of the biggest things that I see people get really perplexed about, and how to apply it. So in order to conquer this and to get a little taste of what kind of time and what kind of efforts you are capable of put in, let's look at 4 really easy conquering solutions here for the time and patience thing. The very first one off the top is do something small. Do something small that you can start, delve into, and finish between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And you decide what that is. It might be a a container garden that you put together. It might be a vegetable box that you build out. It might be anything that you're capable of doing based on your skill set. The way you get that first little job done is plan it out. Plan it out on a Thursday, execute it on a Saturday, including material acquisition, where you're going to do it, is the site prepped, all the planning that goes into it, so when you're ready to go, that time management skill and that planning has already come to bear, okay? One of my favorite sayings is educate before you initiate, okay? If you don't know what to do, delve into it. My God, with the internet capabilities of today, there's no excuse between YouTube and Google and all the other things. There's no excuse why you cannot educate yourself, at least visually and written, on how to go about doing something. There's no excuse anymore. Finish that project, finish that one-day project and feel good about what you did. Stand back and take a look at it. Realize what you accomplished and what could be the next step up. Instead of planting a beautiful color container garden or putting together a big bowl water feature or whatever it might have been, now what else can I do? What else can I plan? What else can I draw out, leading towards a total landscape makeover? All right, number 3, if your particular choice of vocation is not landscape design, and it's not landscape construction, if it's not cement work and cement finishing, you do something else. Maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a dental hygienist, maybe you're a open heart surgeon, but you don't know crap when it comes to what plants look good where and how do I go about and do that kind of stuff. I've come across highly educated PhD people in certain fields, but when it comes to practical application of landscape design and theory, it's kind of, they just don't know, and so they turn to folks like myself and many other, qualified professionals to really help them out. But all it is a skill set. It really is. And how do you acquire those skills? Well, like mentioned earlier, go out and read, go out and watch, go volunteer somewhere. Maybe there's a landscape company that'll take you on for a day a week, as a volunteer, and you can kind of learn some of the skills. Volunteer at one of the local nurseries and start gaining some horticulture knowledge as far as plants and soil amendments and fertilizers and all the things that go along with ornamental horticulture. It's a skill set, and oftentimes I see people run from a landscape makeover because they feel like they just don't have the skills. Or worse yet, they think they have the skills until they're about 4 hours into the first demo day and they go, holy crap, what have I done? So make sure you acquire the correct skills, find the people who could teach you, and move on from there. So skill set's the number 3. Number 4, your physical ability. Now, notwithstanding a legitimate physical handicap, totally understand. If you're walker bound or wheelchair bound or have a debilitating disease that doesn't allow you to do this, okay, yeah, coach totally gets it. I understand that part. But if it's just a fact that you have acquired the couch as a form of recreation, if it's something that you would rather exercise your thumbs on the weekends and the evenings rather than learning a new way to get in shape, physical abilities sometimes are an excuse, but they can be the answer as well. You can turn around and get into shape. And I don't mean gym shape. Gym shape and running shape is totally different than landscape shape. When you start tugging and pulling and bending and squatting and on your hands and knees for hours on end, it's a much different environment than going to the air-conditioned gym and getting on the elliptical and doing your 30 or 40 minutes on the elliptical. Landscape shape and the brutal hot sun or the cold or whatever you might have, different. So if it's a physical ability, put some effort in. Put some effort in. Part of your planning is, as I'm designing my new backyard or my new front yard, and I know that I could be in better shape so that I don't hurt myself, it's all part of your planning. Put an exercise program in there. Half hour a day, maybe at the end of your day or the beginning of your day. Get up a half hour early. Start doing some walking. Start doing some mild calisthenics and start strengthening your body and your bones and preparing for that day when Saturday comes around and it's time for you to kick that yard's ass. Okay, last one, equipment. Many people do not start a landscape makeover project because they feel like they don't have the right equipment. And in many cases they don't. You know, if you have a leaf rake, a shovel, and a hoe in the garage, and you want to go out there and take on that mature landscape and put some revitalization back into that yard, you're not going to get it done with those 3 tools. So here's some advice. Is number 1, find out where you can acquire them. Where are they available and what kind of tools do you need? Do you need to step up to something bigger than a small hatchet to start doing some, you know, tree pruning or bush removal? You know, you start tackling some bushes that kind of look like this and this, you're going to see that you're going to need something more than a shovel. You know, you cannot take on a whole patio demolition with a sledgehammer. You can't do it. So it's much more time efficient, much more cost effective, certainly to your time and your body, to upgrade to power equipment. And when I say that, I mean rent it, borrow it, whatever you need to do. Don't steal it, okay? But find out, where can I get a 60-pound electric jackhammer if I'm taking out a patio and a walkway? And where can I get a mini skid steer for a day? So that once I take that jackhammer to that patio and walkway, I can come in with a mini skid steer, which only takes about 15 minutes to learn how to run, and come in and remove that out to the dumpster that you brought in a couple, 3 days ago. And you're done. Rather than sitting there with the sledgehammer and a crowbar and a pry bar and your back and a wheelbarrow, and you're doing it for multiple weekends. So think smarter, work smarter, not harder at all costs. All right? So equipment. It is so easy this day and age to Google rental equipment in my area or rental equipment near me, and you will find a plethora, most of the time, of where they're at and what they have. You know, when I was finishing up my business, one of the big rental yards, United Rentals, consolidated. And so the nearest United Rentals that I used to go to was several miles away. Well, Home Depot found out that they were going and they opened up rental yard. And they had a pretty darn complete rental yard considering a box store. And that's where I went for all my stuff for the last 3 years of my career. And they had good new stuff that had the hell beat out of it yet. So anyway, rental yards, family and friends, purchase what you need as long as you don't bust your budget, and have that equipment there and ready to go on the day that you plan on using it. Don't think about it on that Saturday. Hey, I need to go get the jackhammer. You got it Friday on the way home from work, okay? You had the skid steer hooked up to the truck Friday afternoon and you brought it home and you plan on bringing it back Sunday morning. So think about it. You go out there with the goal of starting an irrigation makeover for your new sprinkler system on your new lawn, and you go out there with a pickmatic, you know, it has the kind of a shovel at one end and a pick at the other, versus going to the rental yard and getting a trencher. Instead of doing it in 5 or 6 days, you do it in 4 hours. If you have a large lawn that you're looking to reduce and take out, and you go and get a sod cutter versus you and a buddy, and you're sitting there picking that lawn out with a pickmatic and putting it into a wheelbarrow and putting it into your Toyota pickup and busting the springs on it as you go to the dump to hand offload at the dump, okay? So it's all focusing on what's going to get it done the fastest. And that is where people gain confidence. That's where people get the job done. And once it's done and it's done correctly, the confidence surges. And that's what I talk about in the book. And that's what I talk about in the course. steering you in the right direction is what this channel is all about. And if you follow some of the advice and you spend a couple extra dollars and do it right, suddenly you sit down cracking a beer that night going, damn, I got a lot done today. And when that confidence hits you like that, you're ready for the next level to continue on with your project. Overcoming these hurdles, these self-perceived hurdles, once you break through those barriers, even one of them, the rest of them are going to be little glass houses that you can just fly right on through. You know, and don't expect to be perfect. There's going to be some mistakes made as long as they're not critical, and those critical mistakes are avoided in the planning. So, don't claim yourself as a victim. Don't claim yourself, oh, we're never going to be able to do it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, and yes, you can. So get out there and overcome these 5 major hurdles that I've just outlined here. Start doing some monetary and budgetary planning. Make sure you go through that time and patience thing, and make sure you allow enough time to conquer those designs and planning and materials acquisition and all those other things before you start your project. Make sure you get yourself in a little bit of shape, and lastly, make sure you have the proper equipment on site and ready to go. So with all that being said, maybe it'll happen this fall, but you better get on it now. Maybe it'll happen next spring. Now you have maybe 8 months, maybe 9 months to plan it out, save for it, get those equipment, find out how much stuff costs, do some due diligence. You'll be ready to go next April or May, okay? So don't play the victim. Always play the DIY success story. I'm always here to give you a hand. All you gotta do is email, and I'll be more than happy to share some of the expertise that I have with you so you can do it right, correctly, the first time, and have a good professional result. If you're still with me, might I suggest you check out the website. The book is there. The course has been drastically reduced. Maybe something you want to invest in. $20 and have that kind of education behind you is well worth it, and it'll save you 30 times that in the long run. I appreciate your time. I'll catch you guys next week. Don't forget the plan of the week and check out some of my other videos as well. Appreciate your time. Take care.